Once again, welcome back to the channel. Now, recently we've been reviewing some newer films, so we're going to do an oldie and we're going to time travel back to 1987. We've got a David A. Pryor film, who happens to be one of my favourite directors, purely because he cannot make a good film to save his life. I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, so I'm sorry, David, rest in peace. Everybody, I give to you Killer Workout, also known as Aerobicide. Killer Workout. 2 years ago, a young woman named Valerie was burned after entering a tanning salon. Now, her twin sister Rhonda runs a local gym. All of a sudden, people are being murdered. Written and directed by David A. Pryor, released in 1987, and it runs at 1 hour 25 minutes. IMDb has given it a generous 4.7. Ooh. You may not be aware of David A. Pryor's work, but he's done some great titles including Deadly Prey, Good Cop Bad Cop featuring Pamela Anderson, and Night Trap. Some of you may be going, oh yeah, of course, and the majority will be going, I've never heard of this rubbish. Anyway, the film kicks off with Valerie coming home and finding out she's got the job to be on the front cover of Cosmopolitan magazine, and she does a little weird dance about without it making a sound. But she was advised to ensure her tan is in tip-top condition, so she heads off to a late-night tanning salon to top it up somewhat. While on the sunbed, it malfunctions and bizarrely turns into a crematorium oven, and the lid must get stuck, and she don't see Val trying to open it whatsoever. Following scene, it cuts to Rhonda's workout, where you see a lot of 80s lycra-clad babes getting all sweaty and working out hard. Jamie turns up and drops all of her condoms on the way to Rhonda's gym, as she's an instructor there. And then we see Rhonda turning down this dude called Jimmy's advances before he gives her the shit eye and she walks off. It seems a bit rapey. Anyways, Rhonda gives Jamie a bollocking for being late and Rhonda's having to fill in for her class. It shows all the pupils leaving while one hangs around to take a shower. While she's enjoying the suds, the lights get turned off and you see an ominous giant safety pin for some reason, and the poor girl gets safety pinned to death. It's not really a safety pin then, is it? While Jamie is locking up, we see somebody disposing of the corpse of the showering girl, and Jamie nearly walks in on them. But instead, she decides to sneak into the men's locker room and play with a dude's jockstrap and gets busted doing it by Rhonda. Jamie hears a noise coming from a locker and investigates to find some prankster has put a fake arm in there. As she closes the door to that locker, another locker opens and the body of the showering woman drapes out. Yes, this is a kind of film that we watch over at ShyteTV. That's probably why me and Jamie are bald as fuck. Police come to investigate and we see Police Lieutenant Morgan collecting evidence. If you've seen Deadly Prey, you'll know him as Colonel Hogan. And speaking of Deadly Prey, in the scenes that follow, you see these two gimps talking about the murder that went off at Rhonda's, albeit disrespectfully, and Danton, aka Ted Pryor, the star of Deadly Prey, turns up with his oiled muscles and his mullet. A little fun fact for you, Ted Pryor, who you've just seen in the movie, is the brother of David A. Pryor, the director. Bet you'll all sleep better tonight, won't you? Anyways, after more gratuitous body shots of bums, boobs and fannies, Rhonda gives Jamie another bollocking for being too sexy. Check it out. Jealous much?
What? We'll just teach the class to stop showing off your tits and tight little ass. Got it?
Rhonda catches Ted, or Chuck should I say, for being nosy, and turns out her senior partner has hired him to work there too.
I own this place.
While taking out the trash, Chuck gets confronted by Jimmy in the car park, telling him to stay away from Rhonda.
I'm gonna give you some real good advice.
Is that right?
That's right.
Well, I can hardly wait.
Stay away from Rhonda.
I guess Jimmy just doesn't want any competition. They have a quick scuffle and Chuck shows Jimmy who's boss and he leaves. One of the workout girls, Debbie, sees him and Chuck in action and decides she fancies a piece of Chuck. Debbie takes Chuck for a drive and they have a drink and you learn that Debbie used to date Jimmy. Chuck asks for Jimmy's address so he can pay him a visit and Debbie goes to get it. Chuck makes a mysterious phone call while she's gone.
Oh, great. And
once Debbie returns, she gives Chuck the address and he says he has to leave. She tries to persuade him not to with well-sculptured flesh. And of course, how could Chuck resist?
Is that right?
We then see Jimmy back at Rhonda's workout, hard at work as an arse inspector. Once class is over, Diane comes over to Jimmy to ask him out, and Jimmy responds in a Premier League knobhead fashion.
What about you?
Check this out.
I don't have any plans yet.
Too bad.
We then see Diane at home on the phone asking if she has any messages, but she doesn't have any. Don't worry, Diane, I know exactly how you feel. It's a lonely world out there. So, Lieutenant Morgan turns up at Diane's place and unprofessionally, he just shouts open up while beating the fuck out the door, rather than tell her he's a police officer, so she's scared and doesn't answer. So while Morgan beats the door to death, the killer then pulls out their trusty safety pin and pokes Diane full of holes. Morgan finally wins against the door and rushes upstairs only to find Diane dead and the killer launch themselves out the window and scarper down the street.
Stop it!
The scene ends and then we see Rhonda and Jimmy at the gym and she finally gives in to his sexual advances, or so you think, and then you see Jimmy dealing out the shit eye to Rhonda once again. 3 teenagers graffiti the Rhonda's gym window and you see one of them get turned into a pincushion by the killer while he runs away. Then the killer finds another one and carves her neck up like a Sunday roast. And then finally, the last one gets trapped in a car and a knife pokes through to the top of her head. From this point on, the killer is on a spree. They kill some dweeb at the gym with an arm weight, and then his mate in the forehead with a safety pin. Then resident meathead Tommy sees their bodies, checks on them, only for him to be caught looming over the bodies by Jamie. So Chuck hears Jamie scream and comes flying to the rescue and gives Tommy a quick combo attack followed by an elbow smash finisher. Lieutenant Morgan arrives and he's quite suspicious of Chuck as he's only just started working there and there's bodies starting to pile up. Tommy comes round and he seems to be cleared of any charges by the police and Jamie comes over to cheer him up. But, as she slowly grinds on him, another Tommy comes behind her and cuts her throat. It was all a dream. Shame that.
Come out of the way. That guy gave you a hell of a beating.
Anyway, in reality, Tommy gets questioned by Morgan, and unlike normal police who take him down the station for questioning, they leave him in the room with an officer guarding the door, of course. But he falls victim to the safety pin regardless. So, oddly enough, while all this is going off, it still cuts to shots of aerobics here and there. It's like they haven't even closed the gym while they investigate some murders. More like so you don't get bored of nothing actually happening for some time. So it turns out that Chuck does some snooping on Jimmy and finds out he is actually stalking Rhonda, and he has a gun and he has lots of pictures of her. Chuck intercepts Jimmy killing Rhonda, but they have a fight and Jimmy beats Chuck up and escapes. It turns out Chuck is actually a private investigator, hired by Rhonda's business partner to keep an eye on things after the first murders occurred. Following that startling info, back at Rhonda's workout, Jamie gets found hung in a storeroom, then the woman who finds her gets offed, and the officer guarding the premises finds them both. Jimmy reappears to mow down Chuck with his car. He succeeds, and Ice picks him while he's down. Damn. You then see some charred, bald head put a wig on. Who could it be? It's Rhonda! Morgan turns up, and we find out that Rhonda's real name is Valerie, like the girl who got barbecued at the beginning of the film. He puts 2 and 2 together, and he gets roasted tits. That's right, he believes she's been the murderer all along. He arrests Rhonda, but while he has her detained, he gets a call that there's been another murder. Lieutenant Morgan finds Jimmy, and a chase scene ensues. After loads of shitty running scenes, Morgan gets the drop on Jimmy, but gets a Jimmy lad backhand slap, and Jimmy escapes once again. Jimmy goes back to the gym to find bald and burnt Rhonda just milling about, and she shoots him for catching a glance at her fried eggs. Then it cuts to Lieutenant Morgan, taking Rhonda out to some wooded area, and tells her some story about some old case he worked on that goes on forever. The police think Jimmy was the murderer and Rhonda is a hero for killing him, but Morgan's not having any of that, so he plans to kill her. But Morgan, he likes to go on a bit, and while he's chatting shit, Rhonda takes a shovel Morgan brought to bury her, and she wallops him good with it. It then cuts back to the gym, which is mightily busy considering 12 plus people have been murdered there, and Rhonda is back there running things like normal. Then it shows you Rhonda pull a big safety pin out the drawers and laugh right at the camera. She's probably laughing at the fact that I've just wasted 82 minutes of my fucking life watching this. Right, so that's a summary covered, so I'll pass you over to Jamie for his thoughts on Killer Workout.
So, this one was Shaun's idea, so I'm not going to go that much in depth into it just because it's not there for me. There is a few scenes that I do like and I did enjoy for the comedic side and the shitness side. Some altogether, to be fair. We're going to start off. I've got 3 scenes I want to kind of break down and go into detail as to why I want to point these scenes out. The first one is, how do you like your women? Obviously, most gym films and any kind of film that involves women, well done. And you'll know why I said well done by this particular clip. Why do they always have to die in the sunbeds? Like, why do they always have to get trapped in the sunbed? It just doesn't make sense. All the films do it. If there's a gym involved, they're like, yes, we can have a sunbed death scene. Or if it's not a sunbed, they're locked in the sauna and the lungs basically burn. It's there. It's a sunbed death scene. You know it's coming as soon as she gets in the sunbed. The second scene is confusing and mind-blowing. Like, I mean, this was done in 87, I believe. I could be wrong there. I'm assuming it's 87. And just look for the cable in this clip.
Now don't you go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Yes, there's a cable from the phone to the receiver, nothing else. There's no cable to the modem or whatever you want to call it. There's no landline connected to the phone. Like, it is literally just the the receiver and the phone. That is it. Now, when this was filmed, I don't think mobiles were about, or if they were big box things. Why have a phone on a little table with 2 deck chairs? If it were a permanent structure, I could understand. Like if it were like a big stone gazebo and they had a barbecue and they had like a really, really fancy house that they were living in, like in Beverly Hills or something, I could understand that, but it's not. It's literally in some trees in somebody's back garden, just lob a couple of deck chairs and a table out. It's laughable because it's like, where's the phone plugged in? And then the third scene is they got it right the first time, and that's all I'm going to say before I let you watch it. Just watch this. Now, do you see what I mean about they got it right the first time? That scream, that second reaction were just, I can't even explain it. Worse than terrible. Like, they basically said to the actor, act shocked. And they just acted like shocked. Like, not scared, not traumatized, just shock. That's all they were. Now, overall, I mean, it is only my second time watching the film. I don't plan on watching it again. If I do watch it again, it'll probably be for some weird reason. I don't know. It's not up there for me. Like every film that we've watched has been okay, and I probably will rewatch some of them that we've reviewed so far. This one, I probably won't rewatch. It's not the kind of film that I enjoy. Some of them I do genuinely enjoy. Some of them I don't. This one is one of the ones that I didn't enjoy. It's like Shaun's reaction to Trolls. It's just, not there for me. And that is my opinion on Killer Workout or Aerobicide.
Now we've heard what Jamie thought, I'd like to say, even though it screams bargain bin in a video rental shop quality-wise, it's an entertaining film. It's got lots of 80s charm, it's got lycra busting at the seams, and it's got hard-boiled breasts if that's your flavour. Although it tries to have some fairly complex slasher-style plot, it just doesn't make sense half the time, and it can be a bit tiring to follow. Alas, I enjoyed it regardless, and if you're a fan of David A. Pryor's work, you'll see some of the same actors crop up, some familiar faces, which is nice. Let's rate Killer Workout. Story, 2 out of 5. It tries to keep you guessing with its semi-complex plot, but it just leaves you confused in the end. Action, 3 out of 5. Some good death scenes, couple of fights, even a chase scene, so it's put some effort in. Nudity, 3 out of 5. There is some full nudity, but it's mainly breasts, not including the baked tits. It's mainly down the top shots or lycra bum shots. It's definitely capitalised on the aerobics theme. Overall, 3 out of 5. It has a bit of everything, but it doesn't excel in any area, especially story, but it does have a lot of charm. That's it for this one, but I'll see you in our second review for April. See you there.